If life came with the option of a guarantee, would you buy it? This guarantee would promise that as long as you lived according to certain strict rules, nothing would go wrong. If that meant that you could never take risks or feel the highs and lows of what it means to be human, would you still want it? There would be no despair, but there would be no joy either. Where is it written that life is meant to be a purely rosy journey? I know somebody who feels that if she and her husband argue, their marriage is a total write-off. That's like saying, if the car needs cleaning, you should get a new car. These days we make a lot of unreasonable demands on our lives, on ourselves, our children, and yes, our doctors, politicians and business people. We've got to a point where we are terrified of making mistakes, and we don't accept that others should make any either. Worst of all, we wait and almost hope for people to make mistakes, so that we can point a finger at them. Following the London terrorist bombings last year, the reaction of the emergency services was definitely very fast. Yet there were journalists asking survivors nasty, niggly questions like, "Do you think they could have been quicker?" And so many people in the USA are afraid of making a mistake and being sued that they won't stop and help others in the street who may be ill or injured. I know that's an extreme example, but it just shows you how afraid people have become of doing the wrong thing. There are even kids in this country terrified of failing exams who have tried to kill themselves. Whatever happened to being human and the idea that nobody's perfect? Personally, I think it is bloody arrogant of anyone to think that nobody else has the right to make mistakes. The fact is that life is all trial and error. Some errors are worse than others, but that's just the way it is. Making mistakes is a vital part of your growth as a person. Without mistakes, you don't have anything to learn from. Without mistakes, you have no history. Without mistakes, you wouldn't know how to do something properly. There were no blueprints when I started the big issue. No one had ever worked with homeless people the way we wanted to. No one had ever come up with the mad idea of starting a magazine and hiring the most unreliable workforce on the face of the earth. Against all the wisdom, I did. And I got my fingers burnt quite a few times. Not because I was stupid, but because that's just the way life is, not perfect. Some you lose. In the early days of the big issue, there was a bloke who really impressed me. He was homeless and lived in a tent in Lincoln's Inn Fields in London. The Fields had the largest homeless camp in London. This bloke, I'll call him Arthur, came to us with a great idea. He would organise the selling of the papers to the homeless and make sure they didn't rip us off.